Welcome back to the Everything Property Podcast. Most of us, when we were kids, had absurd ideas of what we wanted to be when we grew up. But today's guest, I can confidently say they have followed through on their childhood dreams. And there's a photo to prove it of being an architect and have went on to launch their own design studio. And full disclosure, we did go to uni together, but designing and creating some impressive and inspiring work. Welcome to the podcast. Today's guest, Maria Papadopoulos.
Thanks for having me.
That's all right. Good to have you on.
Thank you.
First and foremost, I want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
I saw some news on social media recently that you and Jack made an announcement, please.
I'm engaged. We are engaged.
Yeah, and tell me a little bit about where and when, because I think that's pretty special.
It was in the Amalfi Coast on a beautiful boat. It was a very, very special moment. Music was playing in the background, one of our favourite songs. And in that moment, I just felt so blessed to be alive and to be with my partner. And as I was feeling that, he proposed, and it was just out of a movie. It felt so special, and I felt so special. And we're, planning a wedding now, and just blessed.
Incredibly. That's nice. And did you get any photos or any footage of it?
No, we don't have anything like that. Jack's a very in the moment kind of guy, so there was no planning of any photographer or anything like that. We kind of like having our special moment just for us, not allowing anyone in our little bubble. Yeah. And it was magical.
I love that. Hats off to him for carrying around such a big rock around you.
Yeah, I had no idea as well. Like, I honestly did not think anything. Like, he wasn't acting weird or awkward. So he did very well.
Cool and calm under pressure. Panicking. Look, Maria's walked in to the podcast studio. You guys didn't see it, but with her left hand down near her ankle because of the size of this rock. We got it on YouTube, so definitely you got to show it off for sure. But look, congratulations!
Thank you.
It's I love to see it, and
thank you.
Let's dive a little bit into. We'll post up as well on the Instagram of that photo of you and that drawing, and we can talk into that. But talk me through into wanting to be an architect from a young age and how that story goes.
So from a young age, I guess I've always loved drawing, painting, anything at that stage, just being creative, whether it was with Lego, Play-Doh. And then I guess I had a conversation with my mum at a really young age. I was like, Mum, can I be a painter? Can I be, I want to draw.
You're not painting houses or something like that. You're painting masterpieces.
That's right.
Oh my
But
gosh.
that was I just wanted to be I didn't know anything. I didn't know the value of money or anything like that back then.
Yep.
And she kind of, I guess, said architecture, you can draw houses and you can start drawing the internals of houses. And that's how I started, I guess, drawing houses. And I got a bit more, fascinated with the whole idea of designing a house. And I was still very little, so I had no idea what I was drawing. But I knew, windows were placed and you had a view. And as a young girl with my family, mum, my dad and my sister, we'd go on like road trips or anywhere we used to go to. And the grandest house in the street, I'd say, I'm going to design that one day. And obviously in the city, growing up in Sydney, I always thought to myself, what is the most, important icon? And I thought it was the Harbour Bridge at the time. And that's how I was, started with that view. And I thought that would be so special to be a part of a project like that. And it was all I could never have thought this would become a reality. It was just a very, very far dream, like a little girl's dream, of being anything she wants to be. And that's what I picked. And I guess with very supportive parents in my life and a very supportive sister and now Jack, I'm very, very blessed to have them pushing me in a good way, not in a harsh way at all, just allowing me to do what I feel like I need to do throughout school, throughout uni, and even till now, just very, very supportive. So they told me I want to go to the sun, I can go to the sun. I can do that no matter what.
Yeah,
no matter what it is.
I get that vibe from. I think I've only met your parents maybe once or twice at the random parties during uni. But I think the key here is how you speak about them when you're not around and not with them. And I would see the tiny little iceberg at top of the water, but just that picture that you paint of family to you and how supportive they are. I think that tells me what's lurking below the water in that network of how supportive they are.
Yeah, they're very important.
Is what's led you to, where you are today. So during school and stuff, did you always know that you wanted to be, was that what you're working towards in those later years of school?
Yeah. So from, I guess, the moment anyone started asking me what I want to do when I grow up, it was literally be an architect. And just to say I'm not a registered architect yet, because some people may have an problem with that. So I'm a soon-to-be registered architect.
Yep. Registration.
Until I get registration, which I am currently in the process of doing. For now, I'm a building designer.
Yep.
Just to clarify that. But yeah, since I can remember, that was the main thing. And during during school, my final years, I tended to push for courses that I knew that I was going to get higher marks in, whether that would be design and technology, visual arts. I also did, obviously, English, maths, and I did a lot of Greek because I went to a Greek school.
Yep.
And I'm fluent in Greek, so I just wanted to make sure I get in to uni at it because it was a very high ATAR. So my main concern, there wasn't any prerequisites for architecture. There wasn't any, so we were lucky in that sense.
I think it was just like a UAI, like the
ATAR
that you had to get,
be like
right?
96 or something.
Yeah, something ridiculous.
Yeah, and I didn't get 96. I got high 80s.
Yeah.
Just missed the 90, and I was so disappointed. I thought it was the end of the world because I truly thought my dreams were gone. That was the first day I felt anxiety when I saw my ATAR mark. Yeah. And I was like, no, what am I going to do? I had no backup. I was like, what am I going to do? Yeah. And Mom was like, it's going to be okay. We'll figure it out. And I managed to get an early offer from UTS because I showed a folio, essentially had an interview. Yeah. And here we are.
So you went straight from high school.
Straight high school.
Into the uni.
It was a very scary place.
Yeah, it definitely was. I can agree. What do you think of that architecture degree?
I'm not going to say much.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not going to say much.
Do you think it needs a rework?
It does. I do think we need more practical work, to be completely honest, and I'm sure all the tutors can agree. It's a very conceptual course. We didn't learn, and I don't know if you can agree, the basics, I guess, of, unless you want to work for a larger firm that has unlimited budgets with clients. I don't know if you remember Mr. Billionaire as the client in one of our design studios. Yeah. We don't have that working in resi projects, especially on smaller high-end resi projects. But there's never an unlimited budget. It always has to be very practical. 100%. You're working for a family. So the uni, I would have liked to see more of a smaller scale project in one of our, I guess,
it's good
design
for conceptual,
studios.
But I even remember when we got out, I think it was during one of my first jobs was with an architecture firm, and they were like, just start with this. We're using ArchiCAD. And I was like, ArchiCAD?
What's that?
Yeah, I was like, what's that?
I know Rhino.
Uni, no one draws in Rhino. But you don't get taught that at uni. It's just look, there's a bit of a rework that probably.
I learned ArchiCAD too. We use ArchiCAD in the studio now.
They did that. They paid for us to learn it. There's an online course or something that I think ArchiCAD releases. You've probably done that where you detail the whole house. Yeah. But, okay, cool. So we finished uni. Have you finished your masters too?
Yeah,
you do that back to back?
Back to back. So 3 years and 2 years of masters. Yeah. And I have to say, for I guess any listeners of younger people that want to do architecture, I do recommend experience while working. That's one thing I didn't do. I didn't do as much of in my bachelor. I would have liked to have way more experience.
Okay, so get on the tools in
straight away. Don't suffer towards the end, essentially.
Architecture intern.
Yeah.
get the runs on the board, and then that makes it a whole of a lot easier.
Yeah, don't let your ego, I guess, interfere with the pay, because I know that's a big thing for most people leaving uni. You know, like if you're, another thing for me personally, I didn't let anything come between me and my goal, and my goal was to open Sitchi.
Yep.
Not knowing it was going to be called Sitchi, but an office of my own.
Yep.
And I know I'm still quite young in that sense, but it's not an end goal, but it was one of my main goals.
Yep.
And yeah, it's...
Well, talk to us about that. So you've obviously you did a couple of years at a few different places to get that experience under your belt. But one of your main goals is to open your own studio. Was there a moment where maybe you come home one day in tears, or you were overworking for someone else? Like, what was the catalyst moment that made you go, I'm starting my own studio? Was it like you've done enough experience, or something happened at work, or the pay's not keeping up, or what was like I got to do it now?
You know, to start with the pay, that was never, I guess, it was a very base salary, which I was okay with. I worked for 2 firms previously, and then I jumped to a tier 1 builder working for the government. Just wanted to see what their side was like.
Yep.
And then I kind of gathered I knew what my goal was, like we said, but I just wanted to experience that before I go out.
Just to make sure you didn't like fall in love with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Just wanted to experience that. Yeah. And I have to say Jack was probably the main switching point for me. Again, he's very, very like my family and pushes me when he sees potential. And honestly, without him, I probably wouldn't have, I guess, achieved an office at this age. I probably would have still be working for someone. Even though I am very confident in myself, I guess I just needed that bit of a push.
Okay.
Yeah.
When does he come? When did Jack and you two
3
sort of
years
meet?
ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's sort of why you're going through those working, and then he's just sort of got in your ear and he's like, why don't you start
I guess he
this?
saw the passion and potential, I guess, and you know, if someone really believes in you, and if you're telling them I want this more than anything in the world, then what do you have to lose? I don't think there's anything to lose.
What's worst case scenario in that?
The worst case scenario.
Yeah, you have
do
to
your
go
due
back.
diligence. You know, if you need a backup salary, go work.
Yeah,
I was still.
How did
I still
how
had
did
a
that
sweet
happen?
moment, so I still was working for my previous employer, but still doing, I guess, after hours. So it was intense days. So I landed, and I was sitting there for hours with no client, just producing renders of. Again, so I went back to my 5-year-old self in designing houses that I didn't have clients for. And I guess that's what I saw in myself. Was like, I'm literally trying this hard with no client. Can you imagine if I do have a client and that has needs and requirements and time frames and all of that? Because I got that experience from my previous employer, you know, and I felt in the moment that I had enough to work with. And thank God I clearly did. And
was there a changeover between, so you were able to still, did you pick up your first client while you were still working at your previous employer?
Yes, just.
Okay, and what was the attitude of your previous employer towards that?
They kind of always knew, I feel, that my heart wasn't in the building side of things, especially for government jobs that they don't do residential projects.
Okay, yeah.
So I've always was very open and telling them that my end goal is to be a registered architect and have my own firm. And they were very supportive of it. I think they kind of knew that was where my heart is and there's no stopping me. Yeah. And they're lovely. Like we chat till now. So even with my first employer, see him around and hopefully he's proud of me. Yeah. But I'm very thankful to them because they taught me everything I know. And, you know, in this industry, it's so easy, I guess, to fall behind because everything is changing on a monthly basis. Like every detail is changing. Every product is getting updated. ArchiCAD is getting updated. You have to keep on top of things. So that's another thing, I guess.
Okay. What was the first client or your first sort of like paying role that you got in like Sichi? What was that? Who was like? What did that look like? How did that come about? What was like? Because you were popping off on socials as well. You're putting together these renders and like reels and stuff like that. Like this stuff was immaculate.
Well, I obviously they knew I had previous experience with employers, my previous employers, but it was a duplex, and I have to say it's probably one of the best I've done.
Really?
Yeah, it was my first and my favorite. I've done many. All my projects are beautiful in their own way, you know, and all my clients, I'm very grateful I have beautiful clients. But this specific one, I guess it was the size of the land as well that helped me achieve that floor plan. Size? 880.
Oh,
nice.
Nice. What location?
I think Elwood.
Elwood. Okay. 880 block.
Beautiful.
Oh, we should do a tour to see.
I know.
It's all done. It's all
not
finished.
Finished, believe it or not.
Really?
It's still in construction.
What happened there?
Just a slow process.
Wow. The builders?
A bit of both.
Okay.
Bit of both. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
But now you're sort of rolling into what sort of like your ambitions and what are you working towards? What's sort of the end goal? Because you just opened up.
Yeah,
you've got your own office, your own design studio, which is cool. I have to come check it out. I've seen the photos and the videos.
Yeah.
It looks immaculate. It is a walking.
Thank
it is
you.
a built version of like.
I like to think so.
I look at it and I'm like, I can see you.
That's
in
what
that
we
design.
want. That's what we want.
Okay. Where is that?
In Sanssouci.
Sanssouci.
Yeah, close to home. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Tell me, what's the ambition? What's the end goal?
It's honestly hard to say because for so long I've been working towards opening this office, which was very, very like recently. So it's hard to say, but I would always love to be very, very involved in Sichi. I don't want it to grow too much, to be honest with you. I still want to always keep it personal. I still want to always have to deal with the client myself. I still always want to design everything that Sichi produces. I know it's hard, and that's something I guess I'm learning at the moment is to give away tasks I don't want to. Everything is so personal to me, and because I guess it's taking me like I'm 27, 20 years to get here. With the back of my mind, opening this office, it is a very hard thing to allocate tasks to people when you hold every task so dear to you.
Yeah, we've worked so hard to get those tasks.
Yeah, and like just to even be here, like I feel so lucky. Not that I'm scared of other people messing up or anything like that. And I have 2 beautiful workers, 3 at the moment, so I'm grateful. But it's just I've always wanted to be able to do everything myself. And I guess as a small business owner, I'm sure many people can relate. It is so hard to get other people to do what you need to do and give away those tasks.
And I feel like one of the things I hear people say with these types of things is that like you can find really good employees, but they'll never care as much.
They'll never be you.
Yeah, because they haven't worked 20 years to be doing that project which you have. Like they can still be really good employees and all that kind of stuff, but they haven't went through that pain.
It's not their baby.
It's not their baby. That's right.
You can take care of a baby, you know, and make sure it's feeding and it's, you know, it's all good. It's breathing, but it'll never excel the way you want it to.
Yep.
If that makes sense. So I never want to just step back and chill. Yep. Never. I love what I do. So I would never, I guess, propose that or think of that. Whether I want to draft less, probably. Drafting, even though it is quite soothing some days, but drafting would have to be probably my least favourite task.
In terms of like the documentation and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so you more want that front end.
I want the design. I want to speak to the clients. Okay. I love that. Like I want to understand what they're feeling, what their house wants. Like I just want to be able to design their dream essentially, like give them what they want. What I always ask them, like, what do you want to feel when you walk into this space? What is it that we try and interview our clients, see what they're like as people. Some people are moody. Some people are very happy and love colour, and some others love neutral. And when we're looking at colours and all of that, I guess, and just finishes when we talk about the interior, you need to be very careful with what you're giving to the client. It's so important. Like people are spending a lot of money on your designs. So it is a massive responsibility. And that's why I always want to make sure I'm in the front, or try and hire people that are on the same, I guess, wavelength as you, which is very hard in design. We're not in each other's brains, so we don't know what we're thinking.
What are some of the challenges that you've faced? One, because you're younger than a lot of people. People probably generally think of architects as like old men. One, you're a bit younger, and then the second would be that you're female too. You're going to be up against it in an industry that's, you know, often thought of as male architects and male dominated. So what are some of the challenges that you think that you've had coming up and so far?
I have to say, being a female I haven't really felt to be challenging as much as I thought.
Yep.
All my clients are, like I said, majority of them are male. A lot of them are developers and builders, majority developers. So they really do trust me. I try my best to appear as very strong and, I guess, educated, as long as you believe in what you're saying, and you've done, again, your due diligence and you know what you're talking about. And if you, I guess, market yourself that way, then they do trust you. The age is probably one of the larger issues, I guess. It's not really an issue, though, I have to say. A lot of people still don't even question it. Some people do ask, you know, how much experience have you had? And on larger projects, if you need help, just ask for it. Get the professional advice you need. Don't ever be scared.
So you've got sort of like mentors or people that you can
Definitely.
reach out to?
Yeah, thank God. Like, even my previous employer, I did an internship with them. They're very helpful, even with ArchiCAD questions, like the most random questions.
You can go back and ask.
Yeah,
like
just a text.
Really?
Yeah, I'm very.
That's so special to have. I've
Yeah.
got a boss that from a couple of years back, he's been on the podcast, previous employer, but like I still chat and catch up
Isn't
to
it
him. We go
beautiful?
to dinner. It is the best thing ever, and they're the type of very rare to get those type of bosses. Like, you might only get one or two in your entire career, but like,
correct.
You gotta, once you get those people, you gotta hold on to them and keep them close to you.
Yeah, and I guess in being like a boss now, which is something I don't like hearing.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I just find it weird.
Boss gal,
someone's boss. It's weird to me. I don't ever want to, I guess, be that mean boss, or, you know, I want everyone to put their mental health first. It's so important to me, and I tell the girls in the office, I'm like, as long as you feel, you know, as long as we're getting the work done, don't get me wrong, but I want you to tell me if something is upsetting you, or we can work something else out, or if there's a better way in doing something, you know, as long as your mental health comes first, no matter what it is, your feelings. And I just want everyone to be happy in the office, because that reflects in the work we do and the time we give our clients, and how, like, the energy, I guess. Like, if you're giving a client, you know, moody or negative energy, they don't want to be here, you know. And I want to make sure that our clients are enjoying every single step of the process, not just the end result.
Yeah, okay.
So it's so, like, having our meetings, I'm lucky because the intention of creating this office was a calming space.
Yep.
And mostly all of our clients that have walked in, they've literally said, we feel so calm. And I was like, thank God.
Really?
That's
I
what we
have to come
want.
and have a look. I'm intrigued.
Yes, you have to.
Perfect. Okay. And how have you went with juggling? I mean, it's one thing to work as an employer, but then, as you said, as a boss and running your own business, there's a heap of things like, you know, payroll, you've got an office now, the fit out and stuff. How are you juggling all that? How are you finding
Very
it?
overwhelming in the beginning, because the office was a massive reno as well. And again, Jack, bless his soul, helped me a lot in that. But it's very overwhelming in a sense. There's so many different, I guess, procedures, paperwork, you know, your accountant has to do, you know, you set up your business in a certain way, and doing all that, I honestly, you don't know where to start. But I think once you do it once, you can probably open up a few businesses, because you know what to do.
The processes.
Yeah, but it was quite overwhelming in the beginning, you know, from going to working from home and just working in your own time without, you know, delegating tasks to anyone, and just doing it all in your own time. It's so much more complicated having, you know, going to the office, paying rent, you know, downloading ArchiCAD for everyone. You don't think of all these things.
Licenses and all that kind of
all
stuff.
All of that, you know, like checking other people's work. You know, I would love if someone could check mine, but I'm checking my own. So having certain, I guess, processes as well with all of that is extremely helpful. I know it's just a small business, and large businesses have thousands of different processes.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get one into place and it's proven to work,
Mm-hmm.
then you just keep doing it for, I guess, every task.
Okay. So
Yeah.
systems, processes
Yeah.
is the way you found that.
Yeah.
Look, Maria, I'm actually really inspired sitting here and listening to this story. I don't think I'll ever cut again, but you've definitely sold it to me, and the dream, and especially the aesthetic and the designs that you create. I think it's very like, it's not like old and tired. I look at that and I'm like, this is it. So I will put. I'll make sure when we share this on socials, jump across, and I'll put links to all your stuff so people can start to see it. But look, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. It's good to see you, and I'm actually
Likewise.
proud. I'm so proud of
Thank you, Toby.
what you've done and where you're at. So thanks for
Awesome.
jumping
Thank
on.
you so much. Thanks for having me.
That's all right. No
Thank you.
problem.